I was standing on my front porch when I saw a man walking slowly up the driveway. At first, I thought he was lost. Then my heart nearly stopped. The man looked exactly like my older brother, Daniel. The same height, the same walk, the same scar above his eyebrow. The problem was that Daniel had disappeared 30 years earlier. No phone call, no letter, no explanation. Just gone. We searched for years. My parents died without ever knowing what happened to him. And now, on a cold October evening, he was standing in front of me smiling, as if he had only been away for a weekend. The moment he said my name, a chill ran through my body. Something felt wrong, very wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy real-life mystery stories, because this story changed my life forever. Daniel stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me. His smile was warm, but his eyes looked terrified. It was the strangest thing I had ever seen. He kept glancing over his shoulder as if someone had followed him. I invited him inside. My wife, Sarah, nearly dropped a plate when she saw him. She knew all about the missing brother nobody could find. Daniel acted calm. He asked about old neighbors. He asked about our parents. When I told him they had passed away years earlier, his smile disappeared for a second. Then it returned. That brief reaction stayed in my mind. It felt rehearsed, almost forced. During dinner, he barely touched his food. Every sound outside made him look toward the window. Every passing car seemed to make him nervous. I wanted answers. Everyone wanted answers. But whenever I asked where he had been for 30 years, he changed the subject. By midnight, I realized he was hiding something much bigger than a simple explanation. And whatever it was, he was terrified of it catching up to him. The next morning, news of Daniel's return spread through town like wildfire. Relatives began calling. Old friends stopped by. Everyone wanted to see the man who had vanished 3 decades earlier. Daniel greeted them politely, but I noticed something strange. He studied every face carefully before speaking, almost as if he was checking whether he recognized them. Sometimes he got small details wrong. He forgot names he should have remembered. He mixed up stories from our childhood. At first, I blamed it on the years apart, but the mistakes kept happening. That afternoon, my cousin Michael visited. The moment Daniel saw him, all color drained from his face. Michael noticed it too. The room became uncomfortable. After Michael left, Daniel locked himself in the guest room for hours. Late that night, I heard movement downstairs. I walked into the living room and found Daniel staring through the front window. He looked scared. Truly scared. I asked what was wrong. He hesitated before saying someone might be watching the house. My stomach tightened. Watching us? Why? He refused to explain. Instead, he asked a strange question. Had anyone ever contacted me asking about him over the years? I told him no. He looked relieved for only a moment before becoming anxious again. The next day, I noticed a large black suitcase in the trunk of his car. It looked old and worn. Every time someone walked near it, Daniel became protective. He never let it out of his sight. Even when he slept, he kept the keys in his pocket. By now, my curiosity had become obsession. 30 years missing, constant fear. A mysterious suitcase. Nothing added up. Then one evening, as we sat alone in the kitchen, Daniel suddenly said something that made my blood run cold. He told me that if anything happened to him, I needed to open the suitcase immediately. Before I could ask what he meant, headlights flashed outside. Daniel jumped to his feet so fast that his chair crashed backward onto the floor. For the next several days, Daniel barely slept. Neither did I. Every night he checked locks, windows, and doors. Every morning he looked exhausted. Then everything changed. A white SUV parked across the street and remained there for hours. Daniel spotted it first. His reaction was immediate panic. He pulled the curtains closed and ordered everyone away from the windows. Sarah thought he was losing his mind. Honestly, I wasn't sure anymore. The SUV eventually left, but Daniel's fear only grew stronger. 3 nights later, he finally agreed to tell me part of the truth. He said that years ago, he had witnessed something powerful people wanted buried forever. He refused to give details. He claimed those people had spent decades searching for evidence he possessed. I asked what evidence. He looked directly at the suitcase. My pulse quickened. The answers were inside. I knew it. Yet he still refused to open it. The following afternoon, family members gathered for a welcome-back dinner. It was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it became the most shocking night of my life. During dessert, Daniel suddenly stood up. His hands were shaking. Without saying a word, he walked to the hallway and returned carrying the suitcase. The entire room fell silent. Even the children stopped talking. Daniel placed the suitcase on the dining table. His eyes moved from face to face. Then he said something nobody expected. He said our family had been living a lie for generations. A heavy silence filled the room. My uncle laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. Daniel wasn't joking. Slowly, he opened the locks. The clicking sound seemed impossibly loud. Several relatives leaned forward. Others looked uncomfortable. When the lid finally opened, nobody spoke. Inside were stacks of documents, photographs, and one thick file folder. Daniel picked up the folder carefully. His hands trembled. Then he said the secret inside had destroyed lives before and could destroy ours too. Daniel opened the file and removed several yellowed papers. The room remained completely silent. He began explaining that 30 years earlier, he had discovered records hidden among our grandfather's belongings after his death. At first, he thought they were ordinary documents. Then he realized they revealed something much darker. According to the papers, a business deal made decades ago had involved fraud, stolen property, and the destruction of several families. The deeper Daniel investigated, the worse the truth became. Powerful people had covered everything up. Some were still alive. Some had become wealthy and respected members of the community. Daniel claimed he gathered evidence and planned to expose them. Before he could do so, he started receiving threats. At first, they were phone calls, then letters, then strangers appeared outside his apartment. Finally, one night he disappeared. Everyone assumed he had abandoned us. In reality, he said he had gone into hiding because he believed his life was in danger. The room erupted with questions. Nobody knew what to believe. Then Daniel revealed something even worse. One of the names appearing repeatedly throughout the documents belonged to someone in our own family, my Uncle Robert. The same uncle sitting across the table. Robert immediately stood up and called Daniel a liar. The argument exploded. Voices echoed through the house. Accusations flew everywhere. Then Daniel produced photographs, old photographs, detailed records, bank statements, signatures. One by one, he laid them across the table. Robert's face turned pale. He stopped arguing. He simply stared at the evidence. That silence told us everything. For decades, a hidden truth had been buried beneath family gatherings, holidays, and smiling photographs. The man we trusted most had helped hide it. Suddenly, years of strange family conflicts started making sense. Relationships destroyed. Arguments nobody understood. Secrets nobody could explain. The truth had been sitting in front of us the entire time. We just never knew where to look. After that night, nothing was ever the same. Robert left before anyone could stop him. Several relatives cut contact immediately. Others demanded answers. Lawyers became involved. Investigators reviewed the evidence. The story spread far beyond our town. But the biggest shock came 2 weeks later. Daniel admitted there was one final secret he had hidden from everyone. During the years he spent in hiding, he had often wanted to come home. Many times he nearly did. But every attempt ended the same way. Someone always found him first. Someone always reminded him why he had disappeared. Then he handed me a photograph. It showed a much younger version of himself, standing beside a man I had never seen before. Daniel explained that the man had saved his life years ago and protected him while he remained hidden. Without him, Daniel believed he would have died long ago. The man had recently passed away. That was the real reason Daniel finally returned. The protection was gone. The running was over. For 30 years, my brother carried a burden alone. 30 years of fear. 30 years of looking over his shoulder. 30 years separated from the people he loved. Watching him tell that story broke my heart. Eventually, investigations confirmed much of what Daniel had revealed. The truth finally came into the light. Some family relationships never recovered. Others grew stronger because the lies were gone. As for Daniel, he slowly started rebuilding the life he lost. Sometimes I still think about the moment I first saw him walking up that driveway. A missing brother returning after 30 years sounds like a miracle. But miracles sometimes arrive carrying painful truths. And in our case, the truth changed everything. If you made it this far, tell me in the comments what you would have done if your missing family member suddenly returned after 30 years with a secret like this. And if this story kept you hooked until the end, share it with someone who loves mystery and family drama. Because sometimes the people closest to us are hiding the biggest secrets of all.